It's our great honor to have with us in the studio Colonel Richard Kemp, the former commander of the British forces in Afghanistan, who is today a best-selling author. Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, we just heard this story. Israeli officials are voicing concern that the new arms deal between the United States and Saudi Arabia may lead Israel to losing its military edge in the region. What do you think about that? What is your take on that? Should Israel be worried, in fact, about this issue?
Well, I think Israel should always be very concerned to maintain its military advantage in the region, which it has a very clear one. But I don't think they need to be too worried in this case, because there's no doubt with modern technology today, it can be shut on and shut off quite easily. So if, for example, the Saudis decided to do something with it that was not in Israel's interest, then I think the Americans could prevent them from doing so with relative ease. And the other issue, I believe, is that irrespective of technology, Israel has a very distinct advantage over the Saudis and any other country in this region as well. It's that the Israelis' military prowess and fighting ability will overcome, I think, almost any technological edge that another country might gain. So I don't think it's a major issue to be worried about.
Well, Saudi Arabia also seems to be convinced that Trump is going to be successful in reaching an Israeli-Palestinian peace deal. And we're hearing a lot of different opinions about this. What is the perspective from the British government and the British people as a whole?
Well, I can't really speak for the government and the people. I can speak for myself, and perhaps I reflect some of their views over there. I think it's very, very optimistic to expect a peace deal now. I mean, President Abbas went to the White House and delivered a pack of lies to President Obama about his willingness to make peace with Israel. He has no intention of doing so. He doesn't want peace with Israel. What he wants is the elimination of the Jewish state. He doesn't want to live in peace alongside them. So I don't think, I'm sorry to say this, I don't think that President Trump is going to be successful in this mission. However, I do believe that Saudi Arabia should be piling the pressure on the Palestinians, as should other Arab countries, to get them to actually see reason and to change the way that they think about it. But it does need, I think, significant Arab pressure as well as pressure from the West to actually, not concessions. They've had too many concessions, and all they've done is abuse it and take advantage of it.
Now, you've long been an advocate for the Israeli Defense Forces. My question for you is, what made you feel the need to stand up for the IDF and to continue standing up for the IDF?
Well, the IDF and the UK, the West, we have the same aims, we have the same objectives, we have the same, pretty much same culture. We are allies. Israel, the IDF and Israeli government provides massive support for the UK in terms of intelligence, technology, medical technology, a range of other issues which have kept British civilians and military people alive in different conflicts, in terrorist intelligence, etc. And we owe it, as a minimum, we owe it to Israel to reciprocate and to back them up and to treat them as friends and allies. And I do that. I mean, I've received a great deal of assistance from the IDF when I was still serving the British Army. And I want to give them back anything they ever gave to me. And I recognise they are a great army. All of the lies that are told about how they deliberately target innocent civilians are just that, they're lies. The IDF, as I've said repeatedly, including the United Nations, do more and have done more to safeguard the lives of innocent civilians on the battlefield than any other army in the world.
Now, there is a way in which you are trying to give back to Israeli society. We could say from what I've understood, you are trying to persuade the British government to make a royal visit to Israel. Now, tell us how that process is going and if that's actually going to happen, because I think if it is going to happen, a lot of people over here are going to be very excited about it.
Well, I think I'll make a couple of points. I mean, I think Israel is one of the very few, if not the only country in the Middle East that a senior member of the royal family, the Queen, the Prince of Wales, the Duke of Edinburgh, have never visited since the formation of the state. They've been to Iran, Iraq, they've been to Saudi Arabia, they've been to the UAE, they've been to Egypt, they've been to pretty much every other country, but not Israel.
Surprising.
Why is it? I'll tell you why it is. Because the British Foreign Office want to use this as a means of expressing their disapproval of Israel. And it's completely wrong. Israel doesn't need a royal visit. They don't need to be endorsed by the British royal family. But I think Britain does need to show that it treats Israel equally with every other country in the region. In fact, they should be treating them better, because Israel, as I mentioned earlier, is a very strong ally of the UK. And I think it's particularly important we have a royal visit this year or next year, because it's the centenary of the major battles fought over here in the First World War, in which 16,000 British and Empire troops lost their lives in this area. And the royal family, particularly Prince Charles, Prince Harry, should come over here and lead the commemoration of those troops.
Well, I think that we're all rooting for you and hoping that that actually happens. Thank you so much for coming in,
Thank
Colonel.
you. My pleasure.